The story begins at a royal school, where Song Uiju always tops her classes. Min-suk, the boy who always comes in second, constantly looks down on her, calling her illegitimate. Even the principal taunts Uiju about her identity. Cut to the present. Uiju is now managing Castle Group's fashion company, but declining sales have left her furious. She orders her team to leverage the king's birthday event to create a massive, headline-grabbing marketing stunt. At the king's birthday event, Uiju makes a stunning grand entry. Every outfit she wears instantly sparks a frenzy, causing her company's products to go completely out of stock. Yet even there, people gossip about her upbringing. When her biological brother, Taeju, tries to humiliate her, Uiju loses her temper. She grabs him by the throat and warns him never to do it again. Just then, our hero, Grand Prince Ian, makes his entrance. Ian is exhausted from the constant marriage pressure and taunts from his sister-in-law, Queen Mother An. During the party, a sudden blast and fire erupt in the palace. Seeing this, Prince Ian is triggered by a horrific trauma from his past. The night the previous king died, the queen blames Ian entirely for the tragic incident. Meanwhile, Uiju's father is also pressuring her to get married. To escape this forced marriage and save her business, a master plan cooks up in Uiju's mind. She needs a partner who is both smart and royal, and that is none other than Prince Ian. Uiju repeatedly sends requests to meet Prince Ian, but he rejects her every single time. Finally, invoking a reference from their school days, she sends a request signed with the name Junior Alum. The memory clicks for Ian, and he agrees to the meeting. Late at night, Uiju sits directly across from Prince Ian. Ian smiles and says, "You have so many names. What should I call you? And why did you want to meet me?" Without saying a word, Uiju pulls a secret envelope out of her bag and places it on the table. That Uiju had placed a marriage proposal right in front of Prince Ian. Ignoring Uiju's immense wealth and beauty, Ian rejects her proposal, saying, "I want something from you that is far more valuable to me than all of this." When Uiju recounts this to her secretary, Do-hee jokingly suggests that maybe the prince wants her love. But Uiju is not one to give up easily. She decides to shadow the prince. Uiju begins keeping tabs on Ian's every move. Wherever Ian goes, whether it's horse riding, the movie theater, or out for a run, Uiju appears right before him like a shadow. Ian grows increasingly exasperated by her relentless pursuit. Meanwhile, a dark secret from the past is revealed. Driven by a thirst for power, Queen Mother An orchestrated the fire in her own husband, the previous king's chamber, killing him. This horrific tragedy is the exact nightmare that still haunts Prince Ian to this day. In the next scene, the young king panics during a royal ceremony, but Prince Ian steps in just in time to comfort and handle him. At this same event, Uiju is honored with the Best Entrepreneur Award. After the event, Prince Ian suddenly falls ill at the hotel. Uiju quietly arranges for her personal doctor to give Ian a secret checkup. Just then, the queen unexpectedly storms into the room. While trying to hide Uiju, the queen catches Uiju and Prince Ian. That did it. By the very next morning, rumors spread like wildfire across the globe that Prince Ian and Uiju are dating and that Uiju is even pregnant. Following this massive scandal, the two meet secretly. Uiju pulls that same old envelope from her bag, which contains the flowers of honor from their school days. A flashback reveals the truth. During a childhood archery match, Prince Ian had intentionally lost so that Uiju could win. Uiju confronts him, saying, "I feel like I lost to a person who let me win on purpose. I need a royal title to secure my position in the castle group." Amused and impressed by Uiju's audacity, Prince Ian smiles and says, "All right then, get ready to marry a prince. But remember, from this moment on, the entire world will be against you." In the next scene, both of them stepping out of a car together, leaving the entire media completely shocked. Prince Ian had warned Uiju that the nation would turn against her, but using her brilliant PR team, Uiju flips all the negativity into overwhelming positivity on social media overnight. When Prince Ian brings Uiju to the palace, the queen is absolutely furious. Ian flatly tells the queen that the two of them are getting married. Inside the palace, Uiju and Prince Ian are forced to stay in the same room. At midnight, a hilarious tug-of-war ensues between them over the blanket, the sounds of which lead the maids listening outside to draw some wild conclusions. The next morning, Uiju deliberately wears her clothes from the previous night to the office, ensuring the world figures out exactly where she spent the night. At the office, her old friend Min asks if she truly loves the prince. Uiju lies, claiming that yes, she has always wanted to be with Ian. Meanwhile, thanks to the queen's scheming, negative articles are published against Uiju, and a group of girls even throw eggs at her. Uiju gives her a fitting, fierce reply. Following this, Uiju's father also threatens to keep her away from the company and blames her for her mother's death. Heartbroken and upset, Uiju returns home only to find Prince Ian waiting there to surprise her with her favorite food. Uiju's mood instantly brightens. When Uiju asks Ian why he agreed to the marriage, Ian replies, "Your wealth, your beauty, and most of all, when I become king and the world turns against me, only you will truly understand me." People sent by the queen raid Uiju's office and room under the pretext of investigating the palace fire, aiming to frame her. The queen wants to completely ruin Uiju's reputation, but Prince Ian arrives just in time. He takes Uiju's hand and declares, "If Uiju is guilty, then the blame falls on me as well." Right then, Uiju's secretary Do-hee subtly kicks Uiju's leg, and Uiju pulls off a dramatic act of fainting. Ian scoops her up into his arms. The queen's plan flops once again, and rumors of their deep love spread even further through the palace. Uiju brings coffee and medicines for Prince Ian. Ian, who is on the other side of the wall, steps forward, pulls her close, and gives her a passionate kiss. In the next scene, Ian reveals that he only kissed her because someone was secretly taking their pictures. Uiju jokingly replies, "In that case, let's kiss one more time so the photo turns out great." Meanwhile, at the royal council meeting, when questions are raised about Uiju being illegitimate, Prince Ian gives everyone a strict ultimatum. Either I will renounce the throne or Uiju will be my wife. Uiju wants to make Ian as popular and beloved as Princess Diana. The two head to a stadium to watch a basketball match, where Uiju's brother Taeju and her sister-in-law are also present. During the match, when the kiss cam, heart-shaped, focuses on them, Uiju shows great presence of mind. She types a note on her phone saying they must maintain royal decorum and they refrain from kissing. After the match, Uiju goes out for dinner with her old friend Prime Minister Min. Consumed by jealousy, Ian follows them to the restaurant. During their conversation, Ian opens up about his painful past, recalling how his father had slapped him in childhood just for wearing the king's clothes and had imposed several strict restrictions on him ever since. To teach Uiju royal etiquette, the strict court lady Chui makes her entry. However, Uiju uses her clever wit to turn the rigid training sessions into a joke. Meanwhile, Uiju uncovers a terrifying secret regarding the royal family's past. Over the last few years, 3 members of the royal family had died under highly mysterious circumstances: an accident, a heart attack, and a fire. She immediately calls Ian. On the other hand, the queen wants to arrange Ian's marriage with Jae Gong, a girl from the influential Kim family, but Ian gives her the cold shoulder. When Ian calls Uiju back, she gets emotional and says, "No matter what happens, I'm with you. If you succeed, I succeed." Hearing this brings a genuine smile to Ian's face. The young king visits Uiju at her private residence and insists on going for a drive in her red car. Uiju takes the king out, but midway through the drive, she suddenly realizes that the car's brakes have failed. It is someone's calculated, deliberate conspiracy. Using her sharp instincts to dodge other vehicles, Uiju steers the car toward a bridge and scrapes it against the side walls to reduce the speed. Just then, another car swerves right in front of Iju's vehicle to block and stop it. Iju's car comes to a halt with a violent crash. When Uiju looks at the front car, she is utterly shocked. It is none other than Prince Ian's car. He had put his own life on the line to save Uiju and the king. Blood is seen dripping from Ian's head. After the accident, both the king and Ian are admitted to the hospital. Prime Minister Min cleverly suppresses the news so that no harm comes to the king's reputation. As soon as Iju regains consciousness, she rushes straight to Ian. Ian has sustained injuries to his face and shoulder, but he gently tucks Iju's hair behind her ear and asks how she is doing. Iju gets deeply emotional. Just then, Iju's friend Min arrives at the hospital. Seeing Iju's hunger for status, he directly proposes to her, saying, "If a royal status is all you want, then marry me." Prince Ian accidentally overhears Min's words and his heart breaks. Ian begins to believe that Iju is only associating with him for her own benefit. He gets Iju's belongings thrown out of his private residence, meets her, and calls off the wedding. Ian tells her, "Your car's brakes didn't just fail, they were tampered with. You are in danger. If I marry you, it will only create new enemies for you, and the crown will be put at risk." Here, a painful truth from a flashback is revealed. Back in the year 2005, Ian's mother had also died in a similar car accident, a grief Ian has never been able to forget. He is terrified of losing Iju and pulls away solely to protect her. But Iju refuses to give up. Her secretary, Dohee, uses CCTV footage to track down the mechanic who had sabotaged the car brakes. It turns out that the payment to the mechanic was made through none other than the company app belonging to Iju's stepbrother, Saegong. However, when Iju confronts her brother, she discovers that out of fear of getting caught, the mechanic has already been murdered. Meanwhile, Iju rejects Min's proposal outright, scoffing, "No matter what you do, you will ultimately remain a servant to the royal family, but Prince Ian will always be a royal." Hearing this brings tears to Min's eyes. To amends with Iju, Ian sends her an invitation to the Queen's exclusive inner court banquet, a royal feast attended only by royal women. Iju initially refuses, but later meets Ian secretly. Ian apologizes to her and explains that according to protocol at the banquet, those of lower rank must walk behind the others. Iju smiles and replies, "Tomorrow you won't walk behind me, you will walk right beside me." On the day of the banquet, all the royal ladies stand ready to mock a commoner like Iju. Just then, the doors swing open, and instead of traditional attire, Iju makes a swaggering entry wearing a highly stylish suit. Even the queen is left speechless, unable to say anything in front of the media. As all the women walk through the palace, Iju is at the very back of the line. Right then, Grand Prince Ian makes a grand, spectacular entry. He walks past everyone straight up to Iju and says, "Just as you asked, I am here. Now teach me how to walk together." Ian silently resolves that he will never leave Iju's side again. Holding hands, the two step forward together. In the next scene, the two make a grand entry into an incredibly luxurious royal party. The queen had expected Ian to publicly reject Iju, but a twist occurs when right in the middle of a dance, Ian proposes to Iju in front of everyone. Iju says yes, and Ian slides a royal ring on her finger. Even the young king happily approves the marriage, leaving both the queen and Prime Minister Min utterly shocked. While dancing with the queen at the party, Ian whispers a truth into her ear that leaves her trembling with fear. Ian asks, "Who tampered so heavily with my brother, the previous king's, will?" A flashback reveals that the previous king had actually named Ian as his successor in his will, but the queen had burned it. Now that the queen knows Ian is aware of this secret, she plans to target Iju, turning her into his biggest weakness. To ensure Iju's safety, Ian keeps her at his private residence. There, a maid sent by the queen secretly spies on Iju. To catch her red-handed, Iju's secretary Dohee also moves in to stay with them. The next day, Iju discusses the wedding expenses with Prime Minister Min. Min shows so much genuine care for Iju that Ian gets visibly jealous. When a frustrated Ian snaps at Iju, Iju replies, "Min can be trusted. I have told him everything about our contract marriage." Ian is left stunned that Iju shared such a massive secret with Min. Suddenly, the queen arrives under the pretext of having dinner, and during the conversation throws a vile accusation at Ian, blaming him for his own father's murder. She asks, "Will you kill the young king too, just to sit on the throne?" Ian is completely shattered inside. Seeing this, Iju takes his hand, gives the queen a fierce, fitting reply, and leads Ian away from there.
Iju promises him, after the wedding, whoever stands in your way, I will clear them out. To cheer Ian up, Iju takes him out to sea on her personal yacht. There, she jokingly forces him to eat a mango, which makes Ian feel a bit unwell, but Iju takes care of him like a personal doctor. Later, the two stand at the front of the yacht, spreading their arms out to pose in the wind, looking exactly like the iconic scene from the movie Titanic. Suddenly, the yacht loses its balance, causing them both to tumble down. Ian looks deep into Iju's eyes and says, "Didn't you say you would stand by me through everything?" With that, he pulls her into a deeply passionate and lingering kiss. Unable to hold her feelings any longer, Iju kisses him right back. Later, the two return to the palace, but after the kiss, they find themselves shying away and avoiding each other's gaze. Iju stays awake all night with her heart racing. She tries to convince herself that it was all normal, but Ian too stays up all night smiling as he thinks back to that very kiss. In the morning, when Iju tries to sneak away quietly, Ian catches her red-handed. Flustered, Iju runs straight to a church and tells the priest, "I think I've been possessed by a ghost. Please perform an exorcism on me." Prince Ian and the young king sit together and finalize the wedding date. Meanwhile, while riding in a car with her old friend Min P, Min warns her out of pure jealousy, "Don't you dare fall in love with Ian. Remember, you have to divorce him in 3 years." At the same time, the queen reminisces about the past while taking a walk through the palace with Ian. A flashback reveals that after their marriage, when the previous king grew distressed and ran away, it was Ian who stayed by the queen's side. The queen's eyes still hint at lingering feelings for Ian even today. However, a major twist arrives when another dark secret from the past unravels. The queen herself was the one who had burned the previous king's will and set fire to his chamber, all so she could place her own son on the throne. And now, to stop Ian, she is plotting to target his ultimate weakness, Iju. Ahead of the wedding, Ian arrives at Iju's house bearing royal gifts. At the dinner table, Iju's stepbrother, Teju, brags about how he is on track to become the CEO of Castle Beauty. Just then, Iju's father points out to Ian that the royal family is riddled with dangers, expressing concern for Iju. This sparks a fight between Iju and her father. She snaps at him, asking why he is acting so concerned now when he hadn't even checked up on her after her near-death accident. Bursting into tears, Iju storms off to her room. Ian follows her inside. Noticing a spark in his eyes, Iju asks, "Do you have feelings for me?" Ian smiles and confesses for the first time, "Yes, I like you. I will give you everything, wealth, fame, and my heart too." Iju is left speechless. Finally, the long-awaited day arrives, the grand royal wedding. Iju looks breathtaking in a stunning red wedding dress. As Iju and Prince Ian's royal procession moves toward the palace, millions of people gather to cheer and congratulate them. On the other hand, Prime Minister Min watches their wedding on TV, seething with anger. The queen instigates him, saying, "How long are you going to keep suppressing your true feelings?" For the wedding rituals, Ian and Iju stand before the king and the queen mother. Prime Minister Min steps forward to congratulate the couple on behalf of everyone.
Iju smiles and thanks him, but suddenly she breaks into a severe coughing fit and collapses right there at the wedding altar. Prince Ian panics completely and begins to scream her name. In a fit of rage, Prince Ian screams, "Nobody touches my wife." He scoops her up into his arms and rushes straight to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctors reveal that Iju has been poisoned with a toxin. Hearing this, Uiju's father loses his temper and lands a hard slap across Prince Ian's face. Ian accepts it as his fault and orders a full public inquiry across the entire palace to investigate this assassination attempt, leaving the queen absolutely terrified. The moment Uiju regains consciousness, Ian comes running down the stairs into her room, hugs her tightly, and begins to cry like a child. He says, "I thought I had lost you forever." Uiju gently comforts him. Soon after, a massive revelation comes to light during the police interrogation. Uiju explains that while managing her wedding gown during the ceremony, her hand had accidentally brushed against the table, unknowingly swapping the wine goblets. This meant the poison was never meant for Uiju. It was meant for Prince Ian. Ian is completely shattered to realize that Uiju's life was put in danger because of him. To keep her safe, he brings her back to the palace. While returning to the palace, Uiju, with
with the help of her sister-in-law Han, puts on such a brilliant act of being severely ill that she wins over the complete sympathy of the media and the public. People begin to criticize and shame the queen and the young king. To save her own reputation, the queen takes Uiju's hand and says, "Your responsibility is now mine." However, both Uiju and Ian know that the queen cannot be trusted. Meanwhile, PM Min's investigation reveals that the poisoned goblet was reserved strictly for members of the royal family. Just then, the spy girl, who is visibly terrified, approaches Min. Late at night, Ian and Uiju are in their room. Uiju is hooked up to a heart monitor machine. She places a pillow between them, but Ian tosses it aside and pulls Uiju into his arms. When Uiju gets annoyed by the continuous beeping of the machine, Ian says, "Let it beep. This sound is the only thing telling me that you are alive." Deeply moved, Uiju kisses him and Ian gently kisses her forehead to put her to sleep. The next day, the two visit their old royal school for a scholarship event, where PM Min is hosting the stage. Uiju goes up on stage and cracks funny jokes with the kids, making everyone laugh. Suddenly, a massive bombshell drops. A scandalous article is leaked to the entire school, the media, and across the internet, exposing that Prince Ian and Uiju's marriage is not real, but a fraudulent contract marriage. In a split second, the media swarms Uiju, bombarding her with sharp, aggressive questions. As Uiju begins to tremble with fear, Prince Ian steps in as a shield right in front of her. He looks deeply into her eyes and says, "Look only at me." Holding her hand tightly, he begins to lead her out through the sea of media cameras. Hiding from the aggressive media, the two take refuge in PM Min's office. Min advises them to stay quiet and asks, "Now that the truth is out before the world, will you two really divorce after 3 years?" Both remain silent. Meanwhile, thanks to the queen's scheming, another piece of news is leaked to the media, claiming that Uiju's fainting spell at the wedding was nothing more than a dramatic act to gain public sympathy. Consequently, the stocks of Uiju's company crash brutally. Now comes a massive twist in the story. A flashback reveals that the person who poisoned the wine on the wedding day was a maid, Miss Lee, sent by none other than the queen's father, Saegong Bon. When PM Min originally discovered this truth, instead of giving the investigative file to Ian to save the prince, he had shown it to the queen. The queen took full advantage of this, blackmailing Min and handing him Uiju and Ian's divorce papers. The queen told Min, "If you want to have Uiju, you must destroy Ian." Driven by his obsessive feelings, it was PM Min himself who leaked the contract marriage papers to the media. Back in the present, Min directly threatens Ian, saying, "You should step down from your position. The public is against you now." Meanwhile, the queen's father, Saegong Bon, intimidates and terrifies the young king, telling him that Prince Ian is the murderer of his father. The king bursts into tears. Just then, Prince Ian arrives on the scene. Furious, he grabs Saegong Bon by the throat and roars, "If you ever scare my nephew again, I won't leave you alive." Here, the truth from 3 years ago comes to light. On the night of the palace fire, Ian had personally overheard the queen telling the previous king, "It's better for you to just die." This meant the queen was the real culprit behind the late king's death. Crying, the young king hugs Ian tightly, and Ian promises to protect him forever. When Uiju realizes that Ian's life and pride are in grave danger because of her, she goes straight to PM Min. Min asks her if all of this is just an act. That is when Uiju screams her love confession right to Min's face. "I like Prince Ian. I like him so much." Hearing this completely shatters Min. Following this, Uiju goes to her father, drops to her knees, and begs for his help. Her father asks, "Who are you trying to save, yourself or the prince?" Uiju replies, "I want to save Prince Ian." Prince Ian is waiting for Uiju in his chamber. Uiju walks in. Ian smiles and asks how she's doing, but Uiju walks straight up to him and wraps him in a tight hug. Ian is overjoyed, but his happiness instantly turns into heartbreak when Uiju looks into his eyes with tears streaming down her face and says, "Ian, we need to get a divorce right this second." Hearing the word divorce slip from Uiju's lips, the ground slips from under Prince Ian's feet. Uiju tells Ian that she is breaking things off solely for her own benefit. This completely breaks Ian's heart, leaving him to cry bitterly all by himself. In reality, however, Uiju refuses to let herself become his weakness while he's on his path to becoming king. Uiju arrives at the council hall and announces before everyone, "The prince and I are getting a divorce. Everything that happened during our marriage, from the poisoning to the accident, was entirely my fault. The Grand Prince had no hand in any of it." With this statement, Uiju successfully clears Ian's name of all stains and accusations. Meanwhile, Uiju's brother Taeju's PR team manages the media by spinning the reality of the contract marriage as a grand romantic gesture. Immediately after this, the young king abdicates the throne of his own free will and declares that his uncle, Prince Ian, will be the new king. Draped in the red royal robes, Ian prepares to take over the reign. Upon hearing this, the queen loses her mind completely. She goes as far as threatening to break down the young king's door and set it on fire. PM Min steps in to restrain the queen, but she insticts him, saying if Ian becomes king, Uiju will return to the palace to stay by his side as his queen forever. Triggered by this, Min decides to play his final card and joins hands with the queen's villainous father, Sae-gong-bon. Leaving the palace, Ian meets up with Uiju. Bursting into tears, Uiju throws her arms around Ian and confesses her love. The two share a deeply passionate kiss. Ian explains to Uiju that according to tradition, he must decline the offer to become king 3 times, but on the 3rd time he will have to accept it. Ian says, "When my brother died mysteriously, I stayed silent out of fear, but now I will become king and protect all of you." Following this, Ian confronts the queen and orders her house arrest. Here, a flashback reveals that during their college days, the queen and Ian actually liked each other, but under her father's intense pressure, she was forced to marry Ian's older brother. Crying, the queen begs him, "Why won't you just step back?" But Ian walks away, unyielding. The queen tries to stop her father Sae-gong-bon, but he refuses to listen. Together, Sae-gong-bon and PM Min plot a horrifying death trap to eliminate Prince Ian for once and for all. The next day, Prince Ian heads to the council hall for his coronation ritual. Just as Uiju is stepping out of the palace, the villainous Sae-gong-bon suddenly appears right in front of her. At that exact moment, a violent and horrific bomb blast rips through the council hall. Screams and chaos erupt everywhere. Uiju and her secretary Do-hee run desperately towards the burning council hall. Do-hee screams through her tears. Prince Ian was inside that hall. Hearing this, the ground completely slips from under Uiju's feet. Knowing that Prince Ian is trapped inside, Uiju rushes into the burning hall, completely disregarding her own safety. The smoke is so thick that Ian loses consciousness, and Uiju desperately screams for help. Just in time, the loyal bodyguard Choi breaks into the hall and safely carries Ian out. Later at the hospital, when PM Min scolds Uiju for being reckless, she grows suspicious of Min, realizing it was Min who had texted and lured Ian into the council hall in the first place. As the investigation moves forward, the queen's villainous father, Sae-gong-bon, is formally implicated. Seeing that everything has completely fallen apart, the queen breaks down. She personally walks up to Prince Ian, drops to her knees, and confesses all her father's crimes, including poisoning Ian and orchestrating the bomb blast at the council hall. The queen begs, "I only want to keep my son safe. You may hand down whatever punishment you feel fit for me and my father." Ian sets a single condition: the queen must accept her guilt and live under lifelong house arrest. For the sake of her son, the queen accepts. Once Ian fully recovers, he uses the queen's testimony to unmask PM Min. The queen reveals to Ian that Min had known about the poison all along, but deliberately covered it up. Ian summons Min for a fierce face-to-face confrontation and challenges him, declaring, "The moment I become king, I will abolish this absolute monarchy forever, ensuring people like you can never abuse power again." Immediately after, the royal police arrest the villainous Sae-gong-bon.
Meanwhile, Uiju goes to confront PM Min. Min arrogantly sneers, "Do you really think Ian will be able to abolish the monarchy? I will never let that happen." Looking Min dead in the eye, Uiju throws down a direct challenge. "If that's how it is, Min, from this moment on, you and I are sworn enemies." With all the thorns finally cleared from their path, the momentous morning arrives. Grand Prince Ian walks into the royal court with immense pride and honor, and with that, Ian officially accepts the title of king. As soon as he becomes king, Ian announces his biggest executive decision to the royal court. He is going to abolish the monarchy, royalty, and elite statuses from the country forever to wipe out social inequality. Every single royal member opposes this decision. Playing his final card, the villainous PM Min threatens the queen, warning her, "If you don't stop Ian, I will expose the 3-year-old secret and turn your son into a criminal." Additionally, Min freezes the palace budget and halts staff salaries. However, Uiju swoops in and completely thwarts Min's scheme by providing massive financial donations from her own company. Furious, Min retaliates by launching a fraudulent investigation into Uiju's company, which deeply upsets her father and brother. But for the very first time, Uiju's father shows genuine care for her and safely escorts her back to the palace. The biggest bombshell of the story drops when Uiju plays a secret audio recording during a council meeting. The recording, which was personally handed over to Uiju by the queen, features Min confessing to his plot to kill the king. The entire court is left utterly shock-shelled. Eon confronts Min, asking, "Is this true?" Min confesses to his crimes. Eon firmly declares, "Min, Uiju was never yours to begin with. She has always belonged only to me." The loyal bodyguard Choi steps forward immediately, arrests Min, and sends him to prison. After this, a nationwide public vote is held. In accordance with the public's verdict, the monarchy is legally and permanently abolished. Eon embraces his real name, Lee Won, and returns to a normal civilian life. Meanwhile, Do-hee and Choi also confess their love for one another with a sweet kiss. The story jumps 3 years into the future. Uiju has successfully reinstated herself as the fierce, unstoppable CEO of the Castle Company. Her brother, Taeju, hands over the responsibility of his own company, Castle Cards, to Uiju as well, since his wife is pregnant. At the same time, Uiju's father speaks to her with warmth and affection, saying, "I can never bear to see you lose." Hearing this leaves Uiju deeply emotional. Meanwhile, Lee Won, formerly Prince Eon, buys a ring and flowers from Choi's flower shop to propose to Uiju all over again. When he approaches her and says, "Let's get engaged again, because when we first got married, we didn't have real feelings for each other in our hearts," Uiju just smiles, strikes her childhood archery pose, and replies, "I've had feelings for you since back then." A stunned Lee Won asks her exactly when her feelings started. Won then confesses, "As for me, I've liked you ever since you first told me your name back in school." The two then share a deeply passionate kiss. In the final scene, the two head to the stadium with their entire team, Do-hee and Choi, to watch the basketball match just like old times. This time, Lee Won proudly wears a t-shirt featuring Uiju's company logo. The moment the kiss cam locks onto them on the big screen, they kiss each other wholeheartedly in front of the entire world. And with this beautiful, grand, happy ending, the spectacular drama Perfect Crown comes to a close. So friends, how did you like this unique love story of Uiju and Lee Won? Do you want to see more crisp and exciting explanations of dramas just like this one? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you in the next drama wrap-up. Until then, lights, camera, goodbye.